Abusuya makwaba eba POG media so POG is one when nikia sisi it's not say na chese o my Ghana political stories ni bi na chese yeso yabo e dey rema chese yeso yensa kan e dey ba so mo my Ghana e wo POG media so na me say na e da edika also abadwumadi so ene dey ene obo kwa so abetro subscription na wa share no for so ensa so etimi aka dwumadi bi na yebo e dey ani e dey ache ma na chese ye dey ani enso e dey che investigative journalist ono so nipakuo bi enso timi gye ne kra de free ne nsa ameswale a kyese police for enso to omo so ebe running investigation a omo ye twetwe ho a omo timi ensa ka suspect a kyese ono so ameswale ne yonko brebo a kyese ono ne boko suata free Daniel Usu kwate a omo so elebo na say ono so suspect a no so kobo edp mu wo court na me no kase court Medina district court enso etimi asset Daniel Usu kwate free say onko na ono so ne ho enimfomso bia wo case ma omo so ejina attorney general ne order so and omo so etimi act ya omo so eja Daniel Usu kwate amaniko efie no na we na issue no si we no na ameswale nyame fa na kran say ono so obusua enso aba ede yaudie a chese omo so edi wo Medina court no anase attorney general ho kwan a ono so asi afa a handle sa case ya omo so esu omo so su say attorney general enso etimi nye bibi emfa case no achese nipa on so timi di sa ansem on na so timi di sa nyam na asemi emra enso betimi ni sa onua kro no enso etimi dia busua me se bejebre ne abo e dey rasa ansem blase.
So it's a lengthy, very important, and an exclusive engagement that we had with Emma Jane Markin, who is the lead counsel for the now free Daniel Kranting. And as a matter of fact, she stated something in this exclusive interview that my colleague, legal affairs correspondent Léàd Addo had with her, that there were eyewitnesses who saw the assailants, and that should not be ignored in this matter going forward. And none of the said eyewitnesses saw the assailant say there was anybody who looked like this gentleman, Daniel Kranting, who has been freed today. What next after this development, especially for the family of Ahmed Sualé? And you recall that when this gentleman was picked up about 5 months ago, this case has been running. The Ghana Journalists Association, others issue statement commending the Ghana Police Service for this development, only for this outcome today in court. Stay with us. We have a conversation exclusively with the head of the spokesperson for Ahmed Sualé's family. So we're going to get into it. But Dennis Wadam Esquire is with me. He's been following this case and how things played out in court earlier today. It's a very troubling development, at least for the family of the late Ahmed Sualé. It's not looking good.
Especially when you put it within the context that this is a cold case. It's been since 2019. That's all 6 years now. And just when a suspect was picked up, I mean, there seemed not to be any progress in respect of this particular case. But of course, the reasons for which the accused person has been discharged is because the Attorney General's office has given an advice, which is very usual of some of these things. You would see that when this person was picked up, they put the person before the district court, even though the person was not going to be tried in the district court, for what they call the committal proceedings. As part of the committal proceedings, they needed to forward a docket to the Attorney General's office to examine and give an advice on the way forward. That examination will include the kind of evidence that the police have been able to gather or investigations have been able to unravel. Then an assessment is made as to whether the evidence on record will be enough to continue with prosecution or otherwise. So what we are learning is that on the totality of what the investigation has been able to gather or prosecution has been able to gather, for which they forwarded to Attorney General, the Attorney General's office is of the view that the evidence available is not enough to ground this accused person in respect of the charge of murder. And just so to give you some excerpts of what has been happening, particularly in relation to the kind of evidence that prosecution was dealing with, they were actually dealing with phone records of the accused person. That is to say, the prosecution makes the case that as part of their investigations, they were able to identify that the accused person's phone was within the vicinity of the place where the murder took place.
It's around the Medina
That's
area.
around the Medina Queen of Peace enclave. And that is what they were working with. But let's see how the Attorney General's office addresses that point about phone records, aside the fact that the office makes the observation that what they presented was just an extract from a whole record, which by itself is not complete. Beyond that, they also point out to the fact that the court records placed the accused person's phone in the vicinity where the deceased was killed. That, however, the presence of the accused person in the vicinity, based on his phone's location alone, is not sufficient to charge him with the murder of the deceased.
Right.
That is to say, granted that even the accused person's phone was in the vicinity at the time the incident happened, that alone, without more, is not enough to charge
him
with the offense of murder. They go on to indicate that though it is stated in the police report dated 30th April 2025 that the accused was in the vicinity of the deceased on the day of the killing to monitor his movements, that remains an inference until further evidence is discovered. And Alfred, it's important for us to re-emphasize this point because we have always maintained that when it comes to matters of crime, the proof on prosecution is very high. It's one beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
So the kind of evidence you are working with should be the kind that can actually nail an accused person to the offense so alleged.
Because of the threshold where you're dealing with a murder.
Exactly. The office goes on to make an observation that additionally, none of the sketches of the assailants generated by the police, based on the vivid descriptions of eyewitnesses, resemble the accused person. You recall that as part of the processes in this particular matter, some sketches were made based on the descriptions some eyewitnesses gave as to what they saw or who they saw to be the assailants. Now, the Attorney General says that when you look at that none of the sketches match, or none of the sketches they have match the accused person.
Right.
So in that case, they do not think that the evidence they are working with is enough. It continues to say that neither has the investigation established that the accused person was one of the assailants who shot the deceased.
I see.
It continues that although the accused person could be an abettor, there must be adequate evidence to show that he was in the vicinity to abet the murder of the deceased. At this point, the office is not discounting the fact that the accused person could possibly play a role as in being abetting the crime. However, they are saying based on the evidence, it is not enough at this point to indicate that the fact that the phone showed that he was in the vicinity meant that he abetted the murder. On the totality of it, the office says that the evidence presented is therefore not sufficient to charge the accused person with abetment to murder and murder. And these are the charges for which this young man was put before the court, granted bail. I mean, he had been in custody for some time and all. The office now goes on to urge the police to continue with investigation and try to zoom in on the persons who are directly connected or whose actions are directly connected to the incidents. So this is the basis for what we witnessed today, the discontinuance of the case against the accused person in this particular matter, Alfred.
And you hear the lawyer of the now former accused or discharged,
yes,
Daniel Cranting. He indicates that, and she said that the eyewitnesses should be of interest to how this case progresses. Because if there are sketches of who the eyewitnesses say they saw, which is captured in the Attorney General's advice, then that should be the basis for how this case progresses. But I'm going to come back to you, Dennis. But the most important issue is how the family is dealing with all of this. Dr. Mustapha Idris is the spokesperson for the late Ahmed Hussein Sualé's family. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Dr. Mustapha Idris, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred, and good evening to your viewers.
This certainly must come as a big blow to the family. How's the family dealing with this latest development in court earlier today?
As a matter of fact, anytime somebody loses life, it is a pain to the family. It has been a pain to the family over the years. And all we have been looking for is for the state to be able to get the people who committed this heinous crime. So when somebody gets arrested, and then the family is excited that at the end of the day, at least somebody has been arrested and being prosecuted over this particular issue, then all of a sudden, you hear that the accused person has been left free to go. Definitely, as a family, we're not happy about this development. The family is saddened about this whole development. We do agree that this is not a civil case. It is a criminal case, and criminal cases are being handled by the states. So it behoves on the state to be able to handle this case and handle it in a better way. So if the accused person is let go, definitely the family is not happy about that, and the family is not going to be happy about this development.
The Attorney General was quite clear in the advice that he gave, which my colleague
Sound like you made a measure so like can also subscribe to a POG political media as well. Any day any will as well. So by drop subscription. Now I say no for so answer so etimia kajumedi you know so who the echo any day urban na oh my Ghana political space nim na Mr. Mitchell so bet me so about any rather comment section on also wait me edin come say the bear jumedi no so bear crap share. Now in some just and also able any free a Medina a district court no na just say a year brand here than also quite so a lawyer and so it's me edit to say or more di court upon your banning and not say emotionally no na no so it's me affect a Daniel cause who and for so be a say a year ono so de no hokọbọ ametwale a na chese ono so kwẹ ne yonko brebo a enam so ema yes de sa case enso ebe share no konwa na o chese the real killers na de se bi ono so ewo hɔ a say aban no na say CID so work hard no so etimi de sankofo no enso ejina embra no abuzuma yese beto aso na eti ensem na wachi no
Dennis Paberi Wadam, Esquire just went through, and I know you were on listening to him.
Yeah.
And to the extent that one, the fact that this person, the discharged was, or his phone was said to have been located within the radius of where the incident happened, it's not enough evidence to have him nailed on the issue of murder or on the case of murder, which the threshold for establishing culpability is very high. And then also, most importantly, some of the eyewitnesses who helped in sketching the assailants that they saw indicated that this Daniel Cranting does not match any of the sketches of the assailants whom these eyewitnesses said they saw. So then it begs the question as to why he was even picked up and for the past 6 months and over, he's been going through this process all the while, is it not?
So the eyewitnesses gave vivid descriptions of the people they saw. The police have a forensic audit unit. The police have a unit that is going to sit down and do a sketch. They sketched. What have they done about the sketches? If you had a sketch of an individual and for 6 good years, you have not been able to trace such a person, then it will call your integrity to question. It will call your intelligence to question. You see, and when you are preferring charges for an individual or against an individual, it depends on the charges that you prefer against that person. None of the eyewitnesses indicated that Daniel Cranton was there. It is the police investigations that came out to indicate that his phone was within the radius. We are not accusing him. No, that is not what the family is saying. But it is the police and their own investigations. So if you are investigating a criminal case and you are able to come out to say that such and such a person had his phone, who probably might have worked with the deceased, he had his phone around that particular area, you know the charges you are supposed to prefer against the person. Why do you go ahead to prefer murder case against a person whose phone was around the area? Why do you do that? So if you go and prefer a case against a person, a wrong, case against a person, then you haven't done anything. And you want the family to be happy? No, the family isn't going to be happy. What we are looking for is, the case is with the Ghana Police Service, it is with the states. The individual that was murdered was a state property. Each and every one of us living in Ghana is a state property. And for that matter, when somebody loses his or her life, and it is not a natural disaster, it is not that the person was taken to a hospital and the person died. Even when somebody dies in a hospital and it is as a result of negligence, the state has a stake in it. Not to talk of somebody that has been shot dead, cold blood, and then at the end of the day, for 6 good years. It is simply because the young man is not a policeman, was not a policeman. And I can say this with all certainty. If the young man were to be a policeman, a police officer murdered, Ghana Police Service would have found the murderer or murderers. Because they have done it before. And they have done it not once, not twice, not thrice. Don't attempt to deal with their person. So they will find you. But once you are not their person, forget it.
So are you at this point, you're questioning the commitment of the Ghana Police Service in getting to the bottom of this matter 6 years on?
Certainly. You see, Alfred, justice delayed is justice denied. They are denying the family justice. Not just the family, they are denying Ghana justice. For 6 good years, you have the sketches of the persons who possibly were found around that particular area in that night. You have them. And you cannot fish out these persons in Ghana, even if they are outside the country. You don't have contacts with Interpol. Can't they do this?
Okay. So there was actually, and this is also having a question of law in there, so Dennis would answer that. But would you support the call by some criminologists that if there are indeed sketches of the suspected assailants, as was described by the eyewitnesses to the police, at this point, 6 years on, if this suspect or the accused has been discharged, set free, then those sketches should be made public and these persons declared wanted so that the public can help the police. Is it a call that the family would support?
Why not? As I said, if it were to be somebody who has killed the police, by now they would have made public the people that they are suspecting. Why are they keeping it? Why is the police keeping the
sketches?
The sketches of the individuals. Why are they keeping it? So that they are the only people that will go around and look for the persons? Maybe one of them might just be living closer to my house. If I find somebody who looks like that, why wouldn't I report that to the police? So if you are not able as an institution to be everywhere in the country, there are people who can help. Why wouldn't they bring it out? Maybe the person that has been scared is sitting amongst us. And then we talk and we eat together. Just maybe. But if you keep it to yourselves, and you have been looking for those people for the past 6 years, that's a failure. It questions the integrity. It questions the. You see, when they say their motto is service with integrity, where's the integrity here? And where's the service?
Look, I thank you. Maybe in a minute, what is going to be the next step for the family after this?
We are looking at the states.
Okay.
And we'll continue to call on the states to do what is right. We'll continue to call on the states every day, every minute, every hour, every second, every week, every month, every year. We will continue to call on the states to bring out the murderers of our brother.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thank you. I do appreciate your time, and it's a heavy moment, but thank you so much for putting yourself together to talk to us. Dr. Mustapha Idrisu is the spokesperson for the late Ahmed Hussein Sualé's family, and then it's quite clear the concern you have in there. In fact, we're receiving a lot of messages that if there are these sketches, then the police should make it public, so
Alfred,
the public
it's
can
important
help
for
them.
us
The
to
family
state,
supports that.
It's important for us to state that when we say a person has been discharged, it does not mean that the door has been shut completely. It does not mean that if in the course of investigation there is further evidence to point to this same person, that person cannot be arrested and taken through the course.
Important.
The person has only been discharged. It's not the case of you being acquitted and discharged.
Yes.
So it's important for us to put in there. But of course, as part of the investigations, I believe if it becomes necessary that the police take that route, they may do so. But you talked about declaring somebody wanted. Who really would they declare wanted? Because you declare somebody wanted by an identity.
True.
These are just sketches of people who may look like that. So they may also have
Look at
to
all of
employ
that.
some diplomacy just so they don't complicate matters for somebody just walking in town, then they will look at you and say, you look like that sketch. Yes, but it's important to state that he has been discharged, not acquitted and discharged. But of course, that's where we are in respect of this particular matter. Investigations continue. Hopefully, the assailants themselves will be arrested and put before the law court.
I do appreciate this. Thank you so much. Janice Pape Esquire. It's a case that we're following quite closely for good reason. It's a colleague of ours, Ahmed Sualé, late, and how things are playing out right now. But coming up next, before we getting there, we're getting information, as I indicated, for the last 45 minutes, almost an hour.
Medasi, so come on, I bought a Media. Say POG Media, the ban of Ghana authentic political headlines and stories. A POG persona also owns a bit me a can of who the echo and the urban in a my Ghana political stream. Now, messages on subscribe to a POG Media and the end will go so I drop a subscription. Now I share enough for us to answer. So it's me a Media, who the echo. Any the urban in my Ghana politics in the messages. We meet me so they read the comment section or also wait me at the comment. Or may I say so, Jebre, now, time,